Welcome to Inside Northern, the show that is the #1 rated show on Channel 12, as we just heard. We're very pleased today to showcase the fine arts. So when we look at Northern State University, we have 4 colleges. So we look and we say we have the fine arts, which is the most important group of the day. We have education, because we started out as a teacher's college. We have business, and we have the infamous School of Arts and Sciences, which is everything else that isn't in the other 3. So, but when we look at the fine arts, I thought we'd have 3 guests today, and we can interview each one of them to talk about what's happening in the fine arts, you know, all the things that are happening, and there's always something happening in the fine arts. It seems like almost every night there could be a performance or a recital or something to do that we can celebrate the arts, which is one of the reasons why I believe that Aberdeen, in this region of the state of South Dakota, loves Northern, because it really adds that cultural dimension, that paradigm of let's talk about the arts and creativity. So it's really a nice thing for us. So today we're fortunate to have Dr. Ken Boulton, who's the new dean of the School of Fine Arts. So welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Dr. Downs.
And we have Dr. Tim Woods, who's been here a while. You can give us your bio as we go through the show, but you've been here much longer than the dean.
Since the last century.
Since the last century.
Yeah,
so
yeah. 1999.
Awesome. So you can give us the lay of the land. And then we also have Dr. Terry Beckler, who is in charge of many things. He's an infield utility that does things like picks up the marching band at the last minute in the summer, and did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
So, you know, the School of Fine Arts, you know, maybe we can just start off with kind of this gestalt of tell us about the School of Fine Arts. And you're coming in with a new set of lenses that says, you know, this is why I'm here, this is what drew me here, and this is what we do.
Well, officially, Northern State University School of Fine Arts offers liberal art degrees in music, art, theater, and with additional degrees in music education and art education. That's what anyone would read in the catalog.
Right.
But in reality, we are so much more.
Right.
We are rapidly developing into a true center for the arts. What drew me to look at Northern State as a possible place to work was multifaceted, really. The fact that we have such great support from the administration, from the state, we have all this great new investment into the arts, into our wonderful new facilities in the Johnson Fine Arts Center. We provide big opportunities for our students within a small, cohesive, and very supportive and nurturing setting. Something that you're just unlikely to find anywhere else in the country. And lastly, and this is something that's truly unique about our program, our students truly do it all. They double major, they go between vocal performance and instrumental performance, between vocal education and instrumental education. They, between art and theater, music theater, they really double and triple and quadruple team. And that's why, although we have a relatively small enrollment compared to what we would like to be or what we may have been in the past, we're certainly going, we expect to grow, but our relatively small student population right now actually seems like and feels like something quite the opposite, because our students are so extremely involved in the choir and band and so many other facets of our program. So it's a remarkable center for the arts, and I'm just really, really proud of my faculty, proud of my students, and proud to be associated with such a place.
Yeah, it's really neat. To your point, I see the same students in so many different capacities. They might be in the marching band, then they're in the symphonic band, and then they drop their instrument and they go back and they sing in the choir, and then they come back, and the week before I've seen them in a theater production. So, I mean, they're really getting a performing arts degree.
And also a taste of what it's like to thrive and survive in the real world profession of the arts. There are no easy paths to success in the arts. You have to want it, and you have to be dedicated, and you have to spill your blood in any number of ways and be willing to do whatever it takes to succeed, and to take advantage of every single person you meet who may have an opening for you, to take every advantage of every opportunity.
Absolutely.
And they're training for that right now.
Yeah. So maybe we'll switch to you gentlemen who have a little bit longer standing tenure. You can also tell us a little bit about yourself and what you kind of see as the vision and what we do in terms of our School of Fine Arts.
Well, I was a government major.
Oh.
And got a degree in government, even though what I did really well when I was in college was I performed and I was a singer. And it took me to work in retail for a couple years to realize, you know, maybe I want to go after music. So eventually, at an older age, I went back and started out as a singer, and eventually one of my teachers said, "Have you ever consider conducting?" And went through the you know, with another degree, got a master's and doctorate, and taught for a year in 1998 down in Truman State University, and then was hired here at Northern. And you know, my wife and I, when we were looking at grad schools, looking for jobs afterwards, were saying, you know, let's go any place but Texas or the Dakotas. Well, I don't know about Texas, but I was dead wrong about the Dakotas. This is an area that the arts just absolutely thrive, and I'm a conductor of singers, and this is a part of the world that just sings like crazy. It's been a really fun place to raise a family, but also to make art and build relationships with colleagues and the community, and that's sort of my story about here. We've gone from a choir that, you know, does nice stuff to what we just did this past weekend in terms of we will perform major works with our symphony orchestra, so that our students have these experiences of some of the great masterpieces of art, along with all of the other possibilities that we have with our choirs.
Right. Last weekend, they were singing Brahms, I believe?
Yeah, we had the Brahms Schicksalslied, if that's how you pronounce it.
I knew I couldn't pronounce that, so I'm glad you did. Yeah.
So yeah, and it was a wonderful introduction for them to just one of the great composers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a real classical training.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, how about you, Dr. Beckler?
Well, I actually grew up just outside of town here. And went to college, and I'm one of those rare people that when my percussion instructor asked me the very first day of my very first lesson in college, said, "What do you want to be?" I told him I wanted to be a college band director, and I was thinking of this job when I said it. And that's pretty rare, I think. I'm back where I grew up and have a chance to do what I wanted to do. It took me a long time to get there, and the path was through public schools and things like that. And along the way have done, of course, my military time, hence the haircut, but that's okay. All good, yeah. But it's been great being here because we've talked about it before with some of the faculty, and as Dr. Boulton alluded to, there's so many peak experiences that the students get while they're here.
Absolutely.
Jazz festival, they'll have a concert at the end, and it's just a knockout concert. The choir singing with the orchestra is just unbelievable. And there are so many of those things that the students will never forget and are life-changing things. It's great to be a part of.
Yeah. And we don't need to dwell on it for a great amount of time, but it doesn't hurt that we have a wonderful fine arts facility. And you know,
Not at all.
The Johnson Fine Arts Center, as it's been renovated and all the investment in that facility, allows us to better showcase the talent that you're actually developing. That's the way I would look at it. And we've also invested a lot into the other fine arts in terms of digital, ceramics, and fine arts, and making sure that they have the labs and the spaces to actually do the art as well, because it's really critical to have a creative space.
Yes, much has been made since the Johnson Fine Arts Center opened about the incredible investment that was put into it, nearly $15 million over the last 2 years. Much of that raised privately, which is terrific and indicative of the kind of community support that we have here. But we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that prior to that, almost $2 million was put into upgrading the visual and digital art spaces.
Right.
At the request of NASAD, which is the art accrediting agency. So we are fully accredited, and we look forward to having a return visit by our accrediting team in about a year and a half. So we look forward to showing off our students and our facilities. The students and faculty are extremely proud of their new home, just as we are, just as they are. I have to represent all facets of our school, of their spaces too. So this is a high watermark for our institution and our program. And I think it's, as you alluded to, Dr. Downs, it's already paying off in terms of showing potential students, groups of students, directors, teachers, what they can expect in the future, in the long-term future. It's not just our home also, it's the community's home. And we've been able to open up our facility to a number of civic groups, business groups. There are tours now through there regularly.
Right.
And so you're right, it's a real showcase for our region.
Yeah. So Aberdeen is an arts hub.
It
for
is.
this whole region. I mean, I've heard people have driven at least 2 or more hours to come to one of our shows because they see us as a draw. We're adding a cultural dimension and the aesthetics that this region cries for, that you didn't perceive existed when you were first coming out of graduate programs, but I've seen it immediately.
Yeah.
So it's a great sense of appreciation for everything everyone in the fine arts is doing for the community. It really adds a dimension of sophistication and culture that is, I'd say it's second to none.
We agree.
Yeah, it's really nice. So when we look at the fine arts, you know, there's always something new that's happening. You know, you feel that there's a real spirit of you know, we're going to go to the next level. With maybe, you know, the good to great model, or the great to greater.
Yeah. Well, it's yet another thing that attracted me to this program and that is that it was obvious to me that faculty here across disciplines had a hunger to communicate with each other, to plan with each other, and to collaborate with each other. There are plenty of big programs, prestigious schools around the country where they do excellent work within their units, but there's really no cross-pollination.
Right.
And that's their tradition and that's their focus. And students come out of there equipped to do one thing, and they may do it well, but it's not a real-world experience.
Right.
And our students are quite the opposite, and our faculty is quite the opposite. And so and that has really generated some exciting new initiatives of programming and planning in as far as our new mission and vision is concerned. We have a number of new degree plans and ideas that we're talking about. Already we've been given permission to, as you know, Dr. Downs, plan for our new Bachelor of Fine Arts in Visual Art and Design, which will probably be in effect 2 years from now. That is the gold standard in terms of providing students with a putting our art students on a professional degree track. More recently, the Futures Planning Committee has discussed ways of combining different units and different disciplines within our school, chiefly in terms of focusing on some sort of combination between our theater and art units, something that might come and develop as some sort of a scenic design, minor or major, with plenty of interaction and involvement from our art faculty. This would make it a really unique and powerful workforce-related option, and as well as plans to explore a new Masters of the Arts in Art Education. We have and Dr. Woods can speak to this probably better than I can, but we already have a very successful Master of Music Education and have for about 3 years. This would piggyback onto that, and it might in fact share courses. So yet another way that we are teaming with our different colleagues within our school.
Right.
So these are some really exciting things that,
Right.
that the faculty is hungry for, I am hungry for, and we're going for it.
Well, Northern started out as a teacher's college. And one of the things that I wasn't aware of until I moved to South Dakota was the fact that the school systems here still embrace the arts, K to 12.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the case state by state. Sometimes one of the casualties within some states is the fine arts and performing arts. Budgets have been pretty much gutted.
Yeah.
So then they don't need those teachers. So we're really fortunate that we can have dual majors and they can be coming into the School of Education because they want to teach middle school, but they want to be also doing middle school music. So maybe they're also social science and music, and they can have a real excellent career with both because it gets them the opportunity to either do their vocal performance or their whatever fine arts dimension they have, as well as a cognate area, but have a great teaching career. And within the state, those jobs still exist.
Yeah.
So that's a great partnership with the School of Education, and they get to do both.
Yeah.
So I don't know, do you have a lot of majors that end up in that career path?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of music majors that sort of end up in those career paths, but we have a lot of education majors that take advantage of being in the music. We just had a recent graduate who, because of her background and whatever music she had done here at Northern, is suddenly their choir director this year. And there are several of those.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Happens
quality,
quite often.
yeah,
Right.
the quality of the music education that they're getting, even as non-majors, when they
Right.
get out into the field, is such that they're put into musical positions of leadership.
Sure, if you're a principal of a high school and someone retires or leaves, you start going through the files and saying, well, what else do they know? So suddenly you have a math teacher that played college baseball that becomes a baseball coach, or they become the band director,
Right.
or they do the marching band, or they then teach ceramics or welding, or you have to be adaptable
Absolutely.
to deliver your educational mission. So putting students out into the marketplace that have a wide range of skill sets and knowledge sets really helps them develop an even stronger career.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, by the way, I'm the choir director.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you're a music ed major, well, just things happen.
And I'm from Northern. These guys know. I recently attended my first South Dakota Music Educators Association conference in Sioux Falls recently, and I was tripping over Northern
Right.
grads who are now out there in the field. And
That's right.
they had nothing but glowing things to say about their Northern experience and about their present experience, and I was
Absolutely.
just amazed by it.
Yeah. So, that's what we do. So it just adds another dimension. So when we look at some recent events, you say, we might just talk about those, and then we'll follow that up with what's coming up, because when you start to really get close to the holidays, and I don't know how this happened, but I think next week there's something called Thanksgiving. And then once Thanksgiving happens, there's a lot of performances that lead right up to the end of the semester, and then we kind of go quiet for a couple of weeks. And then we go back and do another semester all over. So what have we done recently, and then maybe we can use that as a segue to talk about what's on the horizon. So what have we done recently?
Well, in the band area, one of the most recent things was the swing dance. Very popular event every fall and spring, and it turns into the formal, if you will, for the students.
Oh, nice.
And they love it. They dress up and they show up at the ward and they dance to music that they probably don't hear on the radio, but they still enjoy it and get out and do it.
That's great. I think I was out of town that weekend because I love swing.
Yeah.
And I love
It's
that.
always
era
a
of
fun
music.
event.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's gone on instrumentally. We just got done with band clinic
Okay.
last week, where we have usually around 300 students come in from all over the state and North Dakota and experience our new facility and make music for a day. And Dr. Olson, our new director of bands, took that over and made a few very nice changes this year. So the students got to see campus. They got a T-shirt, so they're,
That's right.
having a little takeaway from it. It's fun.
Well, we want them to come to campus when we talk about the new facilities, one of the things that we added was the Black Box Theater. And one day it hit me that it was the first production of the Black Box Theater. Was on I believe it was a Tuesday night. Or, yeah, it was next to normal.
Tuesday, and you were there.
And I was there. And I was there because it was the first production in that Black Box Theater.
Right.
And it was wonderful. You know, it's just another dimension of a space. And they did a great job with the play, Next to Normal.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So.
And this week, though, they're putting on an opera for the first time in that Black Box. We're doing the Johnny Skiki. This will be done on the 20th, the 18th and the 20th of
Friday
November.
and Sunday.
Friday and Sunday. And they brought in a couple wonderful artists. One is Mark Walters, who's a professional baritone of almost international renown. And he's also acting as sort of a master teacher, giving lessons around. And we also are bringing back one of our recent graduates, Anthony Rohr, who's finishing up his graduate work at the University of Kansas, and is just a marvelous tenor that we are going to hear more and more about. He's come back, and both of them have been helping out with the vocal area and just added more excitement to the thing. And it should be an amazing performance coming up here.
Well, and what I'm seeing is the talent that we're cultivating. We don't have every graduate program. So I'm guessing, sending students like to the University of Kansas. What happens when they get there?
That's the really great thing. What I like to talk to young students, high school students about, is the opportunities at Northern. Because Anthony isn't the first person to go off and graduate and then succeed. There's the Megan Cases, the Robin Carlsons. They've gone on to Boulder or Cincinnati Conservatory and have absolutely flourished. And one of the reasons that they flourished is because their experiences here at Northern are such that they have more experience. They have the stage time. They have had roles in operas and in musicals. And when they suddenly show up from, I'm just from, South Dakota, and they show up against people from Juilliard and Michigan and Indiana, and the director is saying, and what sort of stage time have you had? And they go, we were understudies. We never really got to do a performance of that. And these former students are taking the stage and just succeeding. Megan Case is now singing professionally as a mezzo-soprano. Robin Carlson is working for
She's the librarian for the Pershing Zone, the U.S. Army Band in Washington, D.C.
These are major roles.
Fairly
significant job.
Right. And you see, and I knew you were going to say that. I'm not psychic, but I knew you were going to say that. And what happens in my mind at an institution like Northern, they can be a freshman and get some sort of singing part or a speaking part. And then the parts get bigger as they go through their college career.
Not always. Not
Or
always.
they just
The philosophy of all of us that run these ensembles is that talent rules. We have had freshmen that have come in and taken over lead parts in our theater productions because that's the talent that they have.
Right.
The neat thing is that if compared to, I hate to badmouth University of Minnesota, but in order to get a role there, you get in line, and it takes years for them to do that. Here, if you are the right person for that part, if you are the right person for that solo, we all have that philosophy of that's the person that should get it.
Yeah. So you said it much better than me. Absolutely. It's that you just look for talent, and then you cultivate the talent. So by the time they leave, they have this portfolio.
Right.
And they show their graduate advisor, who looks at them and says, "Are you kidding me? You've done all that already?"
Yeah.
And they look and go, And then they try them out, and they go, "Oh my, I think I just got my lead."
Yeah.
And then Juilliard person, not to pick on Juilliard, because it's a wonderful
they're really good
conservatory, they're pretty decent, looks up and says, "I wish I came with that portfolio. I got to sing 30 seconds when I was a senior."
And part of it too, I would say, is my colleagues. I'm so lucky to work with those. It's the amount of talent that teaches in our studios.
Right.
They are world-class artists. across the board. And I would say that several of them, had they wanted to teach at Juilliard, would be teaching at Juilliard. I really have no doubt about that.
It is, I'll say it again, another thing that attracted me to this school is the stability and sense of investment that the faculty have had here for a long time, and you don't find that everywhere.
That's good. Well,
So-
and that passion
Yeah.
comes through the students, and then it becomes this culture of we're good, and we're going to just continuously show people just how good we are. That's
Yeah.
neat.
You had mentioned that not all of our programs are necessarily big in number, and another byproduct of that is that we on occasion will supplement our groups with members of the community. And Dr. Woods has frequently organized composite choirs consisting of our own students and the community, such as happened recently at our first Aberdeen University Civic Symphony concert. And also the orchestra itself, Dr. Vodnoy's group, has now for 97 years been a group that has combined the efforts and talents of not only our students, but really active and interested members of the faculty and the community. It's an amazing endeavor that doesn't exist very many places.
Oh, and I noticed that at a recent concert where there were people that I'd met in the community that are in the orchestra, and they were moving all around. Some were singing and playing, and we have faculty that are on the digital side of graphics that are also playing a violin. It's just a great sense of community. So let's just kind of move forward and say, give us some previews of what's happening as we enter this holiday swing season.
Well, before we get to the holiday conversation, we do have a couple of things that are coming up on the near horizon. And one of them makes use of the other new component of the Johnson Fine Arts Center. You mentioned the black box as one of them recently, a few minutes ago. The other is our new art gallery, which is there. And we will be having, we've already had one official show there, which has just been taken down. The next one is opening on November 14th, and that will be the opening of the Northern State University Faculty Art Show. So our faculty, of course, who are not only terrific teachers, dedicated educators, but amazing artists in themselves. So they will be there. They will be able to display their talents in
we have our own artists in residence who also teach.
We do. And then on December 2nd and 3rd, there's a really fun annual event that takes place at the Brass Kettle, and that's in this case, the Frank Sinatra Broadway musical review that is put on by our touring musical theater troupe called Allegro.
Okay.
And it's free of charge. They do accept donations towards the Theater Scholarship Fund, but that will be December 2nd and 3rd at the Brass Kettle. So something of art, something of theater, but then of course a lot of music that's taking place that reflects the celebration of the season.
Absolutely, because music really creates a holiday spirit.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but the arts are just so broad, the broad brush, so to speak. So we want to focus on all of them.
But my colleagues can comment on the holiday music. That's
So let's talk about our swing through the music season
Well,
for the holidays.
we should start with Terry because he has to go very soon, far away.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to go with the Percussion Ensemble Friday out on a short little tour, but I think we're going to get snowed out, so we'll have to reschedule that one. But the big thing is Tuesday, of course, we leave for Hawaii with the marching band.
Nice.
And that's, of course, the 75th commemoration of Pearl Harbor. And so we're taking part in a parade that commemorates that and serves as the Waikiki Holiday Parade. But in front of each band, there's a banner that commemorates one of the ships that was present during the bombing of Pearl Harbor. And so our banner is going to depict the USS Dewey.
Okay.
which was a destroyer in World War II, and so every band presents that, and it's quite a parade because a lot of times they will have a World War II Pearl Harbor survivor that will be a guest and will sit in the reviewing stand along with various dignitaries and generals from the Pearl Harbor area. So it's quite an event, and it's one of, as I said earlier, those peak experiences that the students get. Some of them have never even flown on a plane, and they will get to go to Hawaii, and possibly their only time they'll ever get to see Hawaii. Who knows?
Right. That sounds excellent. It's an opportunity for students to go meet other students and really be a part of a signature event, 75th anniversary.
Right.
A day that will continue to live in infamy,
Correct.
as FDR said. Yes. Excellent. Well,
And a bunch of them, a couple days after they get back, we get to do the holiday celebration, the choral concert, December 1st.
okay.
We'll feature all 4 of the vocal ensembles, the concert choir, the chamber singers, the early music group, and also the vocal jazz choir. We'll do some serious music, where, you know, other kinds of music. And the second half of the concert will be devoted to holiday pieces. In particular, the vocal jazz group will start that wonderful Peanuts piece. What is it?
Christmas.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
They'll open with that, and the poster for this concert, the early music group, we're doing a piece called "Hosanna to the King of the Son of David" by Orlando Gibbons. And one of the students, one of the tenors in the group, is an art student, and one of his projects, he was trying to figure out something to do that would relate music to art. And I recommended, well, what if you were to do some sort of visual depiction of this piece of music? And he's come up with this amazing work of art that is going to be the basis for my poster, and we'll have it up there, which shows, it's really kind of you'll see it in the program and in the poster and around there. So that's on the 1st. I get to drag my chamber choir out to Hoven for the 13th annual Christmas on the Prairie, which is a concert with the South Dakota Symphony Orchestra, and I believe this is our 7th time that we've performed with them. There's some other fabulous soloists that will be there, and it's an amazing concert. And finally, we get to come back on Tuesday the 6th, and we have our, what we used to call, and are we still calling it, the Holiday Extravaganza?
Right.
We're still
Yes.
calling it that.
We
Yep.
still are? Yeah.
That'll be
Good
a very
tradition.
good showcase for the choir, band, orchestra. That's a very fun event that the community always loves. You know, kick off the Christmas season a little bit. Coincides a little bit with the living Christmas tree that the community does, but a lot of Christmas things happening.
Our,
And on-
our lobby, excuse me, our lobby will be decorated
Yes.
Oh, nice.
for the occasion. I think we'll have some student ensembles.
There'll be some
chamber
smaller
groups
ensembles
providing
playing
music.
before the concert.
Yeah, as the crowd comes in.
Yeah.
So we'll
Sounds
be all
like-
decked to the halls.
Yes.
So to speak, yes.
Yeah.
So, and that sounds excellent. I'm sorry I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit. I'll be, the Board of Regents starts that day.
Right.
So it collides with this event, but I'll be there in spirit and know that the community's in good hands and they'll be well entertained. And then the last one I believe was in, the 10th of December. There's another event. It was the Merry Tuba
Oh
Christmas.
yes, Merry Tuba Christmas.
I've never heard of a Merry Tuba Christmas. What is that?
It's an event that was started that's euphoniums and tubas, and they get together for a rehearsal in the morning, and then they go out and play at various, at the mall, at Walmart or Target, various places throughout the community, and it brings high school students, adults, college students all together, and there are quartet arrangements of Christmas carols that are published, and it's a national event that just takes place in various communities throughout the U.S., and it's held at some time during December. The
Okay.
largest one, I think, is in Chicago. And there are 200 or 300 euphoniums and tubas that play, but ours is a little more modest. I think we have 20 or 30
Yep.
that go out on that one.
Well, that sounds like another way to it's an outreach event then, so that people in the community can
Right.
see and hear and
Yeah.
experience the
Well,
work.
and outreach events are, the percussion ensemble always loves their little outreach thing for Christmas. They go to Pier and play for Christmas at the Capitol. and we're going there on the 3rd. So that'll be a fun event. They get to go and play, and some of them have never seen the Capitol decorated. So the students get another experience.
Yeah, it's another thing to add to their portfolio that
Right.
says,
There you go.
these are things that I've done.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and you know, our mission, we're educators. And so what we try and do is figure out ways that we can continue to advance the educational experience of students. And what really ends up happening naturally is there's accomplishments. We've talked about some of them already. You know, we tell a few other maybe stories about students that have just risen, and they're kind of some of our points of pride, that because then we use those students to say to the students we're recruiting, this can happen with you as well. You know, that's what it's all about, to keep the next generations coming in. So do you have any like student accomplishment stories that you could tell us, any one of the three of you?
Well, having had the privilege of judging the national finals of a very prestigious competition called the Music Teachers National Association Young Artist Competition. Happens every year. All 50 states have their own state level competition, out of which the winners go to a regional competition, and there are 7 regions within the United States, and then the winners of those respective competitions progress to the national level, which takes place in either March or April. Well, most of the states have just finished their part of the state level of this particular young artist competition, including South Dakota. This took place at the very beginning of November, and it was in fact held here in Aberdeen at the Johnson Fine Arts Center, by the way. And
which is a good thing.
Appropriately, Northern State dominated. I feel like a coach here.
And it's
we
not just
dominated the
not just
competition.
because of home court advantage, it's because of our students.
Maybe
are that
it
good.
was.
Yeah.
Whatever happened, we came out looking really good. We had our student pianist, Sharka Stanova, who is a senior from the Czech Republic, won the state piano competition. Brady Vandervoort, fine trombone student, is going to Boulder, Colorado, which is where our region will be held. Molly Royals, clarinetist, senior clarinetist, I believe, is going to represent the Young Artist Woodwinds, and we even have a chamber group, which happens to be our clarinet quartet. There's a pattern here. So all 4 of these entities will be representing Northern and, in fact, the state of South Dakota at the regional competition in Boulder, Colorado in January. We just hope they can fly there without any severe snowstorms in between.
Right. Right.
And they will do us proud.
That's good.
This is an incredible accomplishment by our students, and of course it represents the excellence of our faculty too.
Well, but when we recruit the next generation of students, we can actually show them, if you pay attention, if you work hard, these are the kind of things that can happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of up to you. We're going to be there all day, really the we is you guys, and all of your colleagues, but we will help you get there.
Yep.
And here's the evidence to prove that this just isn't conjecture. This is truth. And let me show you this year's outcomes.
It's not propaganda.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
We have hard evidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're very proud of it.
So you've been able to see this, and it's a tradition, and we'll keep it the tradition alive year by year. Excellent. Well, that's the kind of thing that helps us recruit, and we can incrementally get more students and make sure that we have a sufficient capacity. But the outcomes that they have is what it's all about.
Indeed.
Yeah. Besides the degree is going to happen, but the awards and recognition, that's what separates our students and our graduates from the others. Yeah. So one of the things that I've noted, and I always talk about, is the community support for Northern. So the community loves Northern as an institution. The community loves Northern for all the fine arts and the performing arts. So one of the things that I believe that has been institutionalized and is really just getting started is this concept of creating a Friends of the Arts. And the premise of it is as we can raise funding for the arts and we can reinvest in the arts and reinvest in our students. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that, because that's something it's very new, and we want the community to start to see it and understand the rationale and why it's important and why it's so important.
Well, I used a sports analogy just a minute ago. This concept of the Friends of the Arts NSU was born out of Mr. Todd Jordry's vision of something that we could do that reflected what athletics has been doing for quite some time, and that is building a membership group based on some very attractive benefits that they have been able to offer to their fan base, and now we can offer to our fan base with the assistance of our wonderful facility, which now has a 21st century state-of-the-art online ticket reservation system and a sterling and stunning hall. So we have put together a package of benefits. You yourself and your lovely wife are now benefactors of this group, as am I. But we've been able to put together a very attractive package of benefits depending on the amount of donorship that will give individuals or couples a list of complimentary tickets to any number of events that we have arranged for our season, including some post-concert, gatherings, and the benefactor level will also offer those people advanced knowledge of and access to sales for really big events that we may have at the Johnson Fine Arts Center, which of course everyone knows we had a really special event to kick off the gala, which was Three Dog Night. That was an amazing event, and I can tell you from my own personal experience that there was such a rush of sales that first weekend that this particular benefit, I think, would be very attractive. We have rolled this new opportunity out in a rather soft way, but it's gaining steam, and we are developing a growing list of supporters at all 4 levels. So it's, again, gaining momentum, and the word is getting out, and we'll continue to be pushing it, especially as we go into next year, where we, in fact, have the mechanism for promoting this all in place.
Right. So this is a really good move because it allows people to formally say that they're a friend of the arts. We know who they are, and mostly all of you, because they show up to everything. So you can go to them and say, well, we can wrap this up into a package, and it might be a little more, but the purpose is to do things like provide scholarship funding for students. Because as we can provide more scholarship funding for students, it reduces their cost of education, and it helps them get to Northern and stay at Northern and graduate from Northern. And that's our mission. Not just to get them here, but to have a great experience and to graduate and then do all the great things. So it creates a greater sense of partnership with some structure around it. And then people can see the outcomes and then really take us to a new level. So I'm very excited about this. I joined right away because I see the vision and I love it. I also do similar with athletics because athletics get students here, they're engaged, they're involved, they have an intact group. If they're in your marching band, they have an immediate group of friends. And the probability that they leave is very minimal because their friends say, you can't leave. You're my friend. So how can I help you so we can get you through your math class or whatever may be their issue of the day. So it's about creating that sense of community. And the Aberdeen and the region can actually help us go to that next level in creating that sense of community and support, which we're so thankful for the region and the support for Northern. So there's just a lot of things going on. As usual, it almost makes me exhausted sometimes when I think of the number of things that are happening on the campus on any one day or week or month. but it's what we do. This is our charge, and we do it because we like it. We're educators. It's fun. It's fun to see the students grow and develop. So, well, is there anything else that we want to inform everybody about? Anything that we might have forgotten that you want to throw out there? Because this is, and this, we'll have you guys back if you want, or Dean can bring other people back. Just for this time segment, you know, is there anything else you want people to know about?
Next time the taping can take place in our house. It almost did today,
Right.
but there's some repair work that
Yeah.
that has to go on over there.
Little logistics. So
Yeah,
these
some
things
repair.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
But people are seeing the facility. People are coming there, and there's a
And
wow
it's
factor.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
Yeah, and it's not just pretty. It's the
functional.
functionality.
Yeah.
I mean, the sound that reverberates and appropriately resonates in those spaces. It's overpowering.
We would love to show it off. If people are interested, contact the music office, and I know one of us
Right.
would love to show people around the place. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, it's a showpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I anticipate giving tours all year long.
that's it. And so anybody that wants to come see it, I would even make the extension. All the music educators in the state, if you want to bring your groups here, it's a logistics issue. We have to do some planning, but we want prospective students to come and see it, touch it, experience it, and then they'll realize just how viable our School of Fine Arts is, and it is and should be their institution of choice. We should, in our minds, we already are number one. We want them to share that same vision.
I certainly would encourage the public to visit our website, which I understand will be transitioning and transformed along with the entire university's website in January. But our current website is still quite functional and up to date, and it's northern.edu/artsnsu, one word, artsnsu. That's sort of our new brand. It projects a kind of innovative and forward-looking arts focus.
Okay, well, this is great. Well, as always, we are thankful for the community where we reside. We're thankful for people within the northern community that supports the arts. We can never be taking that for granted because it's a relationship that we'll continue to cultivate, and it'll only get better. And the performances will get better, and we'll have more students. And we're at a kind of a watershed moment at Northern where programs within the fine arts are going to continue to grow and get greater recognition for what we do as an institution. It's just it's an exciting time. So, so this is our edition for Inside Northern, focusing on the fine arts. I'm very thankful to have Dr. Ken Boulton, our new dean, and Dr. Tim Woods, who is a chorus extraordinaire, and our band guru. He just gave you a new title, Dr. Terry Beckler, and just thank you for everything that you do. Because what I see is that what happens within the fine arts, it becomes infectious in a good way. And people just see it, and then they want to experience more of it, and it just helps showcase another dimension of Northern that makes us recognized as this outstanding institution of higher education in the state of South Dakota. So thank you and all your faculty and staff for everything that you do, because I see it in the faces of our students and how they're developed, and the output. It's phenomenal.
And thank you for your support.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. It's a low lift. It's an easy lift. It's just I'm your cheerleader because I have no performing arts abilities. It's not in my DNA, but I am an appreciator.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, this really wraps up our show. We thank you for joining us and watching. We hope that you can attend as many of these events as possible between now and the middle of December. But there will be more and more events rolling out. Check the website, read the paper, and come and support our students and our faculty for all the great things that we do in the performing arts. All right. Thank you. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.